What's the real reason for the censorship? And let's just look at the word in word magic. So it basically SEN means, S means electricity, E means electricity, and N means electricity in many different hieroglyphic interpretations. So sens means the electricity. And it's spelled CEN. Yes, I know, but it can be also SEN, like senator, or might even be cenotaph, but that might be with a C as well. But basically, censorship means sends or the ship. Censorship. You can pick to be with the electricity, or you can get the ship and you can get shipped off. That's what censorship really means in word magic. You're either with the group, you're either with the electricity, or you're getting shipped off. And the censorship today is for a couple reasons. Number one, there's a part of our psyche that runs outside our control. I talk about this a lot, yes. It's called the subconscious mind. Now, it loves us. It wants us to be safe. And one of the processes by which it makes us safe is it counts for repetitive messages in your environment and it tabulates them. It wants to know what the most repetitive message is, what the most repetitive behavior is, what the most repetitive belief system is. And the reason it's doing that is because of group safety concerns. It's safer to be with the majority, especially if you're weak, than to be with the minority. And this is the reason your subconscious mind is always trying to figure out what the majority is doing in relation to what the most repetitive theme is in your environment. So the censorship is really about controlling the belief system of the sheeple by controlling the repetitive messaging in the environment and therefore controlling this part of the brain that has a magical affinity to count repetition and then to make you mimic or mirror or emulate or copy it. So whatever they want you to mirror, emulate, or copy, they make sure it's the most repetitive thing that you're going to see and hear. And they don't want you hearing the truth. They don't want you hearing anything about being moral. They don't want you to hear anything about being ethical. They don't want you to hear anything about being healthy, being independent, starting a family, being a mother, being a father. They want all that repetitive content subverted and inhibited, and they want all the messages that go against that are adversarial to the concepts that you need to be happy, healthy, and for the species actually to survive. They're going to upregulate the messaging that goes against all of that. Messaging that makes you unhealthy. Messaging that makes you depressed. Messaging that makes you miserable. Messaging that makes you think that you're going to be single for the rest of your life, or that you don't need your sexual organs, so you might as well hack them off. This is the messaging they want to be more frequent, because there is this invisible part of the mind that looks for the most repetitive messaging and just assumes not that it's true, but that it's being held by the majority, and that if you mimic it and mirror it, the bigger group, not all the time, but are more likely to accept you, and therefore you're more likely to find safety. And this part of the brain loves you and wants you to survive, and this is its right fucking idea for trying to make sure that you survive as long as possible down here on planet mental asylum. So it's worked for a long time before we had media, because all we would get was repetitive messages from nature. Now we're getting repetitive messages from the satanic hordes at the top of the corrupt ruling pyramid, and they're controlling our repetitive messaging, and we're walking right off the cliff like a bunch of lemmings because of this ancient defense mechanism. And one of the other reasons for the censorship is that there is a bunch of satanic people in this world who think they're good people and who really want to maintain that. And they're just the average Joe. It's almost like 40% of the population who are card-carrying Satanists, for the lack of a better term. And they're really not interested in getting their little bubbles burst, that they're not very moral, they're not very ethical, and they're not very smart. So they're censoring ethical and moral and intelligent people because dumb people and unethical and immoral people will be super offended and cattle prodded back into reality if all the truth comes out at once. So these are only the two of the reasons why there's so much censorship: to control the behavior of the uninformed public, and to protect Joe and Jane Coffee Shop and Mike and Michelle Mask Wearer and Kevin and Karen TV Watcher, who basically have been participating in a death cult for a very long time, and they're not really interested in learning what exactly is going on down here on Planet Mental Asylum. Now, if you need more depressing yet interesting information like this, you can get on my private email list. Email me at info@jkristoff.com, and I'll put you on my private email list. Slow drip you some information for free that may or may not make your life better. But in most cases, if you stick with me, it'll make your life a lot better. This is Jason Kristoff signing off. Thank you for listening.